The on the right side here, you see the overview. So the overview is going to be useful because all of those metrics that I mentioned are going to make their way here, and more, I should say. So not, you can see that a lot of those metrics you're not specifically built for. It's that, in our case, we want to generate metrics that are useful for users to kind of understand various parts of the way that they're using the platform. So in this case, if we look, for example, the number, we're doing PCAP collection on that organization. So we've got LimaCharlie net, and it's collecting PCAPs. And that means that as artifacts coming in, they'll have the log prefix, the type PCAP, and then the number of bytes. So in this case, we can see we're not doing a whole lot of PCAP, really. But today, this is, 166 kilobytes. Yes, depending on like the pricing, what you have enabled, then you'll start to see the pricing show up. So let's use an example here. Right, that's right. So we don't specifically build differently on PCAP. So you'll see that it's only the log bytes here. So the total number of bytes ingested as artifact is where you'll see a cost associated with it. So here it's saying 1 penny, so it's probably actually a little bit under. We just round to that penny for display purposes. So you see it's almost nothing. So all of your metrics are going to be here. So that way, if you want to start evaluating a little bit your subscription, again, base quota, then go over the usage ones that you're interested in. That will vary a lot. Certainly you can kind of take some educated guesses in terms of the usage you're going to make. But you know what? The next best thing is actually to use that free tier organization and to enroll sensors. So enroll the things that you intend to have in your organization, right? Let's say you want to bring in LimaCharlie net that does network microsegmentation. And in net, we bill you at cost for the bandwidth. So that's 1 penny per gigabyte. And you're wondering, how much does, the average Windows workstation, bring in terms of data, right? I wouldn't necessarily know. The best way to do that then is to create a free tier, onboard the type of usage that you want to make out of it, and then let it run for a couple of days, and then just have a look at the metrics. So see, for example, the number of bytes of artifacts that you're collecting. And that will allow you to kind of make a better informed judgment on what kind of costs you're going to be looking at. So that's around the subscription. Talked around the subscription. The usage is very similar in many ways, but with a little bit of added complexity. Again, the free tier is going to be your friend, right? That's the best way to get the ground truth for how much use am I actually making out of this. The metrics that you'll be billed against. So here's currently some pricing that we have around usage. So this would be the money aspect. So 67 cents per 100,000 analyzed events, 17 cents per 100,000 retained events, and 2 cents per connected time per month. So one sensor over a whole month, whatever number of seconds that is, comes down to 2 cents. You can, again, determine the usage that you're making from the usage overview section. So in this case, if I look at sensor times, those are the number of seconds where, connected sensor seconds that have been in my organization. So that number is pretty easy to get, although it's the less worrisome of all those numbers. Then you have the sensor retained. That is the metric of the number of events that have been retained per sensor. Not per sensor, globally, I should say. And sensor events, which is the number of events that have really come through and have been analyzed by LimaCharlie. If you need to get into more details on those, we do have APIs that will allow you to do a finer breakdown of which boxes have how many, but usually it's kind of good enough, especially in a free tier organization, to evaluate this at the tenant level to get a good idea. So in this case, all I would have to do to estimate, I want to look for yesterday's usage to kind of make it like a complete day. Maybe I call this a stereotypical day for my my organization. So I have the sensor times. So I would calculate how many seconds in a month. I forget, honestly, 30 days. And that will be at 2 cents per month of connection time. But let's disregard it. It's usually quite trivial. The number of sensor events. So that is 24,638. So what I would do is I would say, 100,000, 24,000 over 100,000 times 0.67 cents. So let's write it down a little bit easier to see in our head. So that is the number of events, and the billing is done per 100,000 events. So that is times 0.67. So if I do this, and then times our pricing. So this is the cost. This is what it cost me yesterday, 16 cents for the endpoints that were connected, and then all of the number of events that have come through. So you can do that, and you can do the same with the retained portion from the calculator. Pretty straightforward.